Marine Corps. There's only one branch.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's dog. Hey guys,
Did
welcome
James
to
T
100
tell you
Yards
that?
of Football. And this is our legend segment. And tonight, man, we got a great legend from the city of Delray Beach, Mr. Eric Davis, great Delray Rock, Boca High star. You know, he do it all, man. He coached at Boca High. You coached 2 sports at Boca High.
Actually, yeah, I coach lacrosse and football.
And football, that's right. You were the head coach of Boca High football program. Then you went to lacrosse. And now you're doing the work of all work right now. So we're going to get into all that, man.
Oh, okay.
So, Eric, welcome to the show, man.
Oh, glad to be here. I just want to say, man, I love it listening to the history when you bring up that Carver, because, you know, I grew up in the backyard of Tony Penn and next door to Pop Grover and next door to Carnegie. So I used to catch balls for him, man. So you bring me chills when I hear you talk about that.
Hey, man, you had to be living in hog heaven, man, doing that.
I
man.
loved it. I mean, I knew. And then my brother being the drum major, so I'm cutting spaded to get to the band. And, you know, I knew the steps.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Hey, man, Eric, a lot of people don't realize for us what that time was like. It was a special time, man. It was a special time. You know, everything was on a high level. I mean, the city of Delray was shut down when Carver High played home games, and we traveled well. When we played away, we traveled well from Delray all over the state of Florida, man. It was just a special time. And I say this all the time, but I never forget, integration was a great thing. Don't get me wrong. But, man, I never forget how disappointed I was when I found out and knew for the first time that I wasn't going to get a chance to play at Carver High School.
I saw a lot of eyes in my brother as well. And then I was in that first split when they started the middle school.
Right.
And that being bused to Boca, that first group from Delray, it was hard because, you know, all my friends, the Rocks and baseball at Pompeii.
Right.
And it was tough.
Yeah, it had to be tough, man. And you know, I think those of us who lived on the south side of Delray, our experience was a lot better than going down to Boca. You know, even though we went to, you know, we didn't go to Carver, we went to Atlantic High School. Right. It was different, and we never had issues. There's a lot of things going on in Boca when
yeah, we had issues because we had double session. We had double session, and your mom, believe it or not, was one of the people that kept me in the way because she was my mom away from home.
Exactly. And you know, and that's the amazing thing about Delray, man. Every mom was your mom.
Oh, absolutely.
Every mom was your mom. I don't care where you go in the city. You know, parents, other people will put you in line if you got out of line. They knew your family, and so we always behaved. You know, we always.
It was just respect.
It was respect.
That mutual respect, and every parent could discipline. You know, whether they just waving a finger at you, or talking to, or getting you a tap on your behind. You know. And
absolutely. Well, look, man. Let's talk about you, right?
Okay.
And then after we talk about you, we're going to talk about some extensions of you, right?
Okay.
All right. And so when I think back, Eric, way back in our day, of course, James T is a legend. Lester is a legend. Your brother John Angus Chocho Davis is a legend, and you know the things that you guys, that whole family, Annie Lane, you know, living in Warner Robins right now,
right?
And so your whole family was quite successful in life. You guys did it on a high level, and so first of all, I applaud that. But the one person I really applaud, because when I look at your family, I think about your mom, because it wouldn't have been possible without her.
Oh, not absolutely. I mean, 5 boys, and you know, a lot of people don't know between her and Zach and Miss Wesley, and they would go to Boca High and fight for all the black kids from Delray that went to Boca High. You know, those PTA meetings. And people don't know that back then, if they had the homecoming parade in Boca, they had to have one in Delray.
Oh, wow.
You know, they made sure that it was equal, because you talk about community school, but that wasn't our community.
That was not your community. That's right.
So we made sure, they made sure, those parents made sure they carpooled and went up there to those meetings and fought for the kids from Delray.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely, man. That's powerful, man. I mean, it don't get any better than that. It don't get any better.
Absolutely.
But, sometimes the work is harder and you just have to do the work. Parents and people in the community have to go in and do what they have to do, to make those changes and make it happen. Everybody don't like that. Everybody don't like that when you go in and have to do what you have to do. But, I mean, it is what it is. And so, but let's talk about it, man, because you played quarterback at Boca High School way back in the day. And then you went into the military right out of high school, correct?
No, actually, I did a couple of little stints of football at Culver Stockton, and then I did a quick stint at Southern University at Baton Rouge. I followed one of your Eagles, Alan Cooper.
Alan Cooper, that's right. He was at Southern. That's right.
That's right. Running the hurdles. And some things didn't work out. Then I came back and I got a job for a year while I was working on my degree with the Boca Raton Police. And then I just realized that there was some things about life that I didn't know about yet. Was kind of immature to the world because I grew up with sports. I grew up with balls,
right.
Football, baseball, basketball, and so I said, you know what? I joined the Marine Corps, and that was one of the best things I could ever do.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And the things they taught me had nothing to do with sports.
Okay.
But it was real.
It was real.
It was real. I grew up there. I started into anti-tanks, and then I went to sniper school, the airborne school, and then I did things.
Right, exactly.
After the training, and then, but I returned and started a career, and I soon got into football with Brian Van Gorder. Okay. That's who started me off in football.
Wow. But let's back up a little bit, right? Because, you and I, when we get to a certain point, we did what we did later on in life. But there are some foundation things that happen in your life before you even got to that point. When we look at the men in our life, when we start playing rock ball.
Oh, absolutely.
In particular, one named Bump Mitchell.
Oh, that's who got me.
All right. He got all of us, right?
Okay. Bump was next door neighbors to my aunt, Dorothy Manley, the Manleys.
That's right.
They lived across the street from the Dobars, who was next to the Scotts.
That's right. That's right.
And of course, that's why I laugh when you say he saw you playing street ball, because he saw me playing street ball, but he yelled at me for getting on his grass.
He had that Bermuda grass.
He had that Bermuda grass, and you weren't allowed to own it. And I used to mess with Toot and Vic about it, but I told him cuts and moves and say, "You come on out for football." So, but my football story was a little different with him because I came out for football, and the dynamics were different back then. There were only 3 teams. This is the 70s.
That's right.
And now there are 8. So there was 150 kids coming out for one team. Each team. So, and there's only 33 on the roster.
That's right.
So you had to be big, bad, bodacious and everything. So, and I got mad because the first year I went out, Bump cut me. And I got angry because he cut me before I even got in pads.
Oh, wow.
But here's the resilience of what I tell kids, and I even told my sons, because I continued to go back out there because I didn't have nothing else in Delray. Rode on the handlebars with my buddies, and guys started dropping off when that hitting started. And so Bump said, "You want to try?" I said, "Heck yeah, I want to try."
Absolutely.
And from then on, I was starter.
See, but see, it's that thing. When I talk with kids, I normally talk with kids about 5 different character principles: sportsmanship, having a good attitude, integrity, doing the right thing. But the one in the middle, perseverance, never quitting.
Absolutely.
See, it's something to be said for that one. Not to give up, not to let somebody run you off. I remember I wanted to play so bad, Eric, that even when I thought a coach didn't like me, that wasn't going to make me quit the team.
I experienced that, Bobby, at Boca High when we lost Coach Coffey. I'm going to tell you, I was distraught because I was Coach Coffey's guy. And I had his class. So when I finished little work, I was running the veer in that class.
Right.
In the hallway by your mom's office. By your mom's office, he would grab my books and say, "Show me your steps."
Show me your
steps. I would ride. And so I had gone on vacation and I came back and I didn't know that he had been replaced. And I remember coming in the locker room and asking, "Where's Coach Coffee?" Where's Coach Coffee? And then Dog Blues them grabbed me to the side and said, "Whoa, hold that down." And somebody came out and ripped me a new one. And I didn't realize we had a new coach.
Oh, wow, man.
And I was kind of in the doghouse.
Right.
And Barry Hill was helping me climb out of the doghouse.
Okay. All right.
So that's when I ended up being a defensive back.
Oh, okay. Cool, man. Cool.
And Tom Smith and Dwight Williams took over the quarterback side. I ended up in the secondary because I had stepped on some toes.
Right. Well, you know, Eric, you know, it's funny because, you know, and I'm quite sure you were just like me in the sense that you never dreamt of playing on the defensive side. I mean, we were skilled offensive players, right?
Yeah.
You know, my buddies laugh at that when I tell them, people in Atlanta, people who never saw me play when I was young, I say, "Dude, y'all just don't know, man. You playing quarterback?" "Yeah, me," right? And so it's hard for them to believe, but man, that was my dream. And thank God, I always say this, thank God for Red Odom, because Red was pushing me to play defense. And I was like, man, I don't do that. That's not me. I don't want to do that. And then it hit me, you know what? They're not going to play me. So I better get on defense and do something. And the beauty of it was I learned how to tackle. And I never played in the game except for cleanup duty, but I learned how to tackle.
Well, I learned defense early because, unfortunately, I had the likes of Keith Washington and Greg Fashaw when I was playing for the Rocks.
Right, exactly. Oh, man, what a beautiful
I wasn't moving them out. So, because remember, there was only 3 teams, so you played with older kids.
Older kids.
And Keith started out in Plantation and transferred to Delray.
Right.
And he was on our team. And I'm like, that depth chart back there, and Winston had the quarterback position so well.
Right, exactly.
So it was kind of like I learned to tackle, played linebacker, played some corner. So I learned to tackle. Because like you, I didn't want to sit. So I had some defensive prowess. So when I got the bump, you know, it was kind of hurtful because, you know, I had Coach Coffee had me wound up. I'm going to do this.
I'm going to do it. Yeah, man.
Barry Hill, you know, I miss him. He said, "Come on over here with me."
What a great guy.
Oh, what a great guy.
Yeah. You know, Barry Hill, matter of fact, there was so many great things I can say about him. Of course, in our era, he was the first to play pro ball. But a lot of us don't know, we had a lot of other pro ball players before Barry Hill. It came out of Delray and came out of Carver High School, right?
I'm learning from your show.
Bubba Tucker was the first one. Pittsburgh Steelers.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that.
No, I did not know that.
Cannonball Butler was the second one, and he was a major one. A lot of people don't know about him. He played college ball at Edwards Waters. And listen to this. He was an all-pro running back in the NFL. Started with the Steelers. All right. Ended with the Falcons. Okay. All-pro running back. Never touched the ball in high school in the backfield. Played tight end at Carver High. So it's the same dynamic back then that was going on when you and I played. It was so many of us who were skilled that sometimes we're just going to get left holding. Right. You know, we're not going to get the opportunity. That year I sat the bench, man, all I knew to do was to go to practice every night and prove to the coaches that I was supposed to be playing. But no matter what I did, they didn't see me. Well, we had Alvin Price.
I remember him.
Lorenzo Haynes. We had, and Van Williams, who's in my class. Van was a very strong kid. Fast, but very physical and strong at that age. Right. You know, he was stronger than anybody in our class, right? And so Van played. But, you know, man, I couldn't hit the field on offense. I couldn't hit the field. And so
you named some good ones too.
Oh man, listen, man. The guys that came through the Delray Rocks, man, it's not even. You know what? It's just not even fair to talk about it.
No,
because some of those guys were so good. Some of those guys played 1 year for the Rocks, never played football again.
Right.
Think about it. I don't think Larissa Haynes ever played high school ball at Boca.
I don't remember him playing.
Think about that, and the things that he did. Tim Butts was like my last year with the Rocks. I was a quarterback on my last team, and Van and Tim Butts were in the backfield. We ran the double wing, just like Atlanta High School did. Mm-hmm. We had Van and we had Tim Butts on the wings. And, you know, that's a lot of speed right there. And then Bernard Parker, Larry Coffey, you know, they rotated. So we always had juice, man. We always had juice. So listen, so you started back then. So talk to me about the men in your life at that young age that really helped form you to get you where you are today.
Well, it's 4 that I can remember offhand, you know, already. Is Bump Mitchell, Red Odom, Walt Stevens, and Horace Bowie, and Ricky Grant, you know, with baseball. Those 2 were baseball, and Red with football and baseball, and Bump and Walt Stevens in football. And they didn't allow me to use my size. I was smaller like you as an excuse or determine the outcome. They gave me an assignment and expect you to carry it out. And if you want to play, you're gonna earn it. And so that was instilled in me. I just thought it was ironic that, and I used to laugh with Bump about I end up in the same profession as him. You remember I spoke at his wake.
At his wake, that's right.
And and I looked over at him by cutting me. And I reminded him, and always. But I had so much respect for him when it was time for me to go for Desert Storm. You know, I went and met him at his office, and I told him if something should happen, I should fall. I wanted him to do me right. He's like, I ain't worried about you. You're gonna be fine. You know, so that's how much I cared about him. And I believe every word he said. You know, I mean, he'd be out singing gospel and carrying a big stick.
Man, he's a tough guy.
You know, come to the bus stop.
Right.
I mean, I was at the bus stop with the likes of Tony Carnegie, Mark Williams, you know, these guys. You know, Jefferson Ballard, we had some hitters.
You had some dudes, man. You had some dudes. But
the Red Pen.
Oh yeah, all those guys. Well, I tell you, Bump Mitchell, he really was the one for me. And he the one got me started. And he got me started. It was tough now. It was tough. But, you know, I'm thankful for him because here's the one thing I can tell you I took from the time, you know, I played for Bump Mitchell on the 85-pound team. I don't care how good you are, Bobby, running the football. I don't care how many times you put the ball in the end zone. This is a team sport. And it has nothing to do with you. He taught me that. He taught me that because, you know, Eric, I had this mindset. Coach, why you asking me to block? Why you asking me to do these other things? Well, all you gotta do is give me the ball because I score almost every time I get. You know, that was my logic as a little kid, right? Not thinking. I was thinking about myself, right? Not thinking about the whole picture. And it was about 4 of us on that team. Any one of us who touched it was going to be gone. Van, Bernard Parker, P. Nanny, right? Right. One of your neighbors, P. Nanny, and myself, and then Nelson McMurray was the starting fullback on that team. And any one of us touched that ball, we were out. I mean, we were gone. I can hear that little bell right now at the Rock game. Right. Ding, 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 ding. We out. Oh. You remember that bell? Right?
Oh, absolutely.
Matter of fact, they still got that bell now.
Well, they got all kinds. It's a new day out there now, Bobby. You gotta come check it out. So Bobby, there's 8 teams now.
You know what? I saw that the other day when I saw your post. I was like, wow, this is crazy, man.
And that's why I was saying it was so tough. Like names that you just named. I played with Nelson McMurray in my first year. Right. You know, these guys were older than me.
Older than you.
They didn't care. You had to make the squad.
You had to make the squad.
And there were 150 kids we would ride to Plamosa for those tryouts, okay, and snag a few mangoes along the way.
On the way, that's right. That's right.
And
that's how we did it.
But there's 150 kids trying out for 33 slots.
33 slots, man.
So, and then you played with a group that was 3 years in age,
That's right.
So it wasn't like the way it is now. They got the 6-year-olds, the 7s, the 8s, the 9s, the 10s, all the way to 13. So I played with older guys.
Man, me too. And the problem I had that year I sat the bench, I was playing with guys a year and some 2 years older.
Correct.
And those 2 year older guys had late birthdays after Labor Day. But they were like 2 grades ahead of me. So I'm in the 8th grade. We had some 10th graders out there playing. My last year, the 130-pound football team. And I'm
that's what I'm saying. I was playing with Keith and Nelson and those guys and Russell guys and all these guys that were much older. So in essence, getting cut was it should happen, but I didn't let that determine my outcome.
Absolutely.
We were built different in Delray.
We were built different. Yeah, and you said it right there. I mean, that's the whole thing right there. And even though we played those older guys, we really felt we should have been playing.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't care. Hey, man, I get in two-face every night because the first year I played with the 130, they had me playing behind Bubba Brown. I was playing tight end.
Okay.
Now, Eric, you know me. When did I ever look like a tight end?
Right. And as big as Bubba Brown was, right?
Right. At the least, I could have been a wide receiver behind Scatter Red. Right. Tight end? Come on, man. That don't even jive right. It don't even sound right. But it is what it is, and it was what it was. But we persevered and we came through. Absolutely. And we were better for it. Because like I said,
absolutely. Talk about building character.
When I was going through that time, building character, but I learned how to tackle. And enough said, because you think back on that time, I thought it was the worst moment in my life. I learned how to tackle. 2 years later, I'm starting in Atlantic as a sophomore, 135 pounds, playing free safety. Because I learned how to tackle sitting the bench 2 years before.
Right.
And then 2 years after that, even though I was a quarterback and I did all that stuff in high school, nobody recruited me to do that. Not in a big way, right? And so I ended up having to go to college and playing defense. Voila, All-American, first-round draft choice, and played 12 years in the league.
Right.
That wouldn't happen. And so here's what I say to people. And you have to be, when you're going through difficult moments, difficult times in your life, sometimes you have to allow God to do what he's going to do, as opposed to aborting the process by quitting because you can't have your way. There are always lessons to be learned when you go through those difficult moments, right? And the thing that I thought was the worst thing in my life ended up being the absolute best thing that ever happened to me. And you can't explain that away. I always say it's God that's doing what he's going to do in your life. We can go as far as we want to and we can take it. But sometimes you got to make room for God to do something a little extra or something a little different.
Absolutely. And I always say, stop resisting. He's trying to open another door for you.
He's trying to open a door for you. Absolutely. Absolutely. And so, and that's what it is. And so I can imagine, you and I talking here, there are so many guys who played football in Delray had the same experience that we had.
Oh, absolutely.
Because the talent pool was just so big and so many guys, you're going to have to wait your turn or it's not going to go your way. And so what are you going to do? You're going to persevere, you're going to quit. Because if you abort the process, only one thing is for sure, that you won't make it.
Oh, yeah.
If you abort the process. Well, man, so let's talk about, Bump was your guy, they coached you, and then you started coaching ball. What was the thing that drove you to do that?
Like I said earlier, Brian Van Gorder, who used to be the D coordinator at Georgia, and he was also a head coach at Georgia Southern at one time. Then he was linebacker coach at the Falcons, the Jags. So he's been around, and he was working at doorman at a bar in Boca when I was a Boca police officer. and he said he was going to be the next head coach of Boca High. And we always talk football. He said, I'd love to have you on my staff. And I like, oh, I would like that. And what position? He goes, you coach secondary. I said, okay. And then he ended up switching me to receiver coach. And I said, well, what offense we run? Wing T. I'm like, what's that? So, I played with coffee. We airing it out. I said, what? Stalk blocking and waggle. And but I wanted to get into coaching. And then when I got into coaching, he taught me how to coach, meaning being prepared before you hit the field.
Absolutely.
Don't let whatever baggage you had in your personal life come out on those fields with those kids.
Absolutely.
So come out prepared with your energy, because the kids feed off you. I never forgot that. And then one of your coaches helped me out, Mickey Andrews. I started going to clinics, and I went up to Florida State. Mark Rick helped me get in the door to go and meet with him. He gave me films and cut-ups and sat and talked to me about different things. I went out to Coach McCartney, when he had Deion Figures and those guys, and Colorado. And then I, saw a few things with Saban. I was just trying to soak it up. I wanted to learn how to coach. I just didn't want to be the guy who said, I'm on the coaching staff. No, I wanted to know what I was doing and improve and be proud of, if I taught a kid just from baby steps and now he's going D1 or wherever he's going and being successful and saying, you know what, I had a play in that. And they always come back. Coach Davis still doing it.
Absolutely.
And so that's how I got started. And I've done camps at North Carolina, NC State, LSU. We ran into each other at Georgia when your son was being recruited.
Right. Sure did. We sure
did.
And
when Matt Stafford came through there, I'm like, look, this offensive tackle. They said, that's the quarterback.
The quarterback, that's right.
But that's how I got started. And so that was 1988. I've been doing it since 1988. First started at Boca High.
Man, let me tell you something, man. If you love the game, and when I was a kid, nobody even said this to me, because I always was dreaming to play pro ball since I was 9 years old. And so nobody said to me, well, when your playing days are over, here's some of the things you can do. If you love the game that much, you don't have to stop doing football. You can coach. And I'll be honest with you, Eric. The next best thing to playing is coaching.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
In my career, my NFL career, I evolved into what I became. I was an athlete, and so when I got drafted, I was an athlete playing on a great team. And so it looks good when you're on a great team. College team and you're playing, and but I started learning the game as a pro, and when I start to learn how to break down film,
that's it,
bro, it was like going on a date every day, going watching the film and breaking it down and going in the game, knowing what they're gonna do when they line up in a formation. Oh, I know what they're doing. It's third and long. Okay, here's what they line up in the jacks front. Here's what they're gonna do. And they come and do it, and you're right there. And you look like a hero, but all you're doing is to take.
And that's what I did with my sons. I said, if I could give you the answers to the tests, could you score a perfect score? Yeah. I said that's what watching film is.
That's what watching film is. That's a good way to put it, bro. That's a good way to put it. Because listen, man, I would. The way the NFL practice, you go to work just like every common man. We'd be up there like 7:30 in the morning. Some days we have to lift weights. We start special team practice at a certain time. Then we get in our defensive groups. We started a whole defensive unit. Then we break down to the secondary. Everybody go in their rooms, and we watch film. And it could be the practice for the previous day. It could be some game film, whatever. And they break the game film down in situations, right? We never watch a whole reel of film like we used to do in high school, right? Back in the old day. We watch first downs, we watch red zone, blue zone, white zone. A lot of people don't know it's a red, white, and blue zone, right?
Right. And then third down.
Because people do different things depending on the situation of the game. So you break those things down. But I always would start every week at the very beginning. You know, I just start watching wide receiver stems.
Your opponent.
Right, your opponent. How they ran their stems. They run a dig route, when they run a out, 15 out, when they run a corner.